Stirred from Ash, Always Be, Devotional Series, Episode 10. When my faith lies torn and thin, your mercy makes me whole again. You stir my heart from ash and flame. My voice will whisper out your name. There is a version of mercy that stops at forgiveness. It covers the wrong, it clears the record, it removes the penalty and restores the legal standing and closes the case. And that alone would be extraordinary, more than we deserve, more than we could ever generate for ourselves. If mercy only ever did that one thing, it would still be the most astonishing gift in the universe. But this lyric is describing something that goes further than that. Your mercy makes me whole again. Not, your mercy forgives me. Not, your mercy clears my record and restores my standing. Whole. The word whole implies that something was broken and that the broken thing has been repaired. Not patched, not managed, not covered over, but actually, genuinely made whole again. A wholeness that was not there before the mercy came. A restoration that goes all the way down to the thing that was actually damaged. This is mercy doing what only mercy can do. Not just addressing the legal problem of sin, but reaching into the actual person, the actual heart, the actual interior life, the actual capacity to feel and believe and worship, and doing something there. Something that forgiveness alone does not do. Something that only the living, active, restoring power of a God who loves completely can accomplish. When my faith lies torn and thin. The honesty of this image is worth dwelling on before we move to the resolution. Torn. Not tested, not strained. Torn. The word for something that has come apart at a point where it was supposed to hold. And thin. The word for something that has been worn down to very little, stretched beyond what it was designed to carry until very little of it remains. This is not the faith of someone who missed their quiet time this morning. This is the faith of someone who has been through something, who has carried things and lost things, and stood in places where the ground did not hold the way they needed it to, and arrived at a place where what is left is genuinely not much. Most of us know what that feels like, not as a theological concept, but as a lived experience. The season after the loss that didn't make sense, the long stretch of unanswered prayer that slowly, quietly wore something down, the moment of failure significant enough to make you wonder whether any of this is real. The faith that was once full and warm and close, and is now, if you are being honest, torn, thin, barely there. And it is precisely here, not when the faith is strong, not when the spiritual life is full and vibrant and producing all the right fruit, that the lyric makes its declaration. Your mercy makes me whole again. The mercy does not wait for the faith to recover before it acts. It acts on the torn and thin faith. It meets us in the barely there and does something, right there, in that. You stir my heart from ash and flame. There are two images compressed into this line, and both of them are deliberate. Ash is what remains after fire has finished. It is the residue of something that burned, completely, thoroughly, down to nothing recognizable. If you have ever stood in a season that felt like everything was burning, and then lived through the aftermath where what was left was just the gray and quiet of what remained, you know ash. It is the specific texture of a life after devastation. Not dramatic, not loud, just what is left. Still, cold. The memory of heat without the heat itself. And flame is the burning itself, the active, consuming moment of it. The season that is still in process, still hot, still taking things. Both of them are here. The mercy is not limited to the aftermath. It is present in the burning too. And it does not stand at a safe distance observing either of them. It stirs. It reaches down into the ash and the flame, and it moves. It initiates. It starts something. Where there was stillness and cold and gray, and the residue of everything that burned, the mercy of God descends and stirs. This is the language of resurrection. It is the language of Ezekiel's valley of dry bones. the breath of God moving through what was thoroughly, completely dead and calling it back to life. It is the language of a God who has always done his most extraordinary work in the places that looked most finished. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 36:26. Not a repaired heart, not a patched heart, a new one. The heart of stone, the cold, the numb, the unresponsive, the ash, removed entirely and replaced with something living, something that beats, something that feels again. This is not the work of a mercy that only forgives. This is the work of a mercy that resurrects. And then, the moment that carries perhaps the most weight of any single line in the pre-chorus, my voice will whisper out your name. Everything in this lyric has been about the mercy descending, God acting, God stirring, God making whole what was torn and thin. And then, quietly, barely, a response. Not a shout, not a triumphant declaration filling the room, a whisper. That whisper is everything, because a whisper is the first sound of a restored voice. It is the sound of someone who has come back from a place where there was no voice at all, who has been stirred from the ash, who has received the new heart, who has been made whole again, and whose first act with the restored capacity is to speak his name. Not perfectly, not with full strength, not with the full-throated worship that may come later, just the name, whispered out. The first fragile, genuine, real act of a heart that has come back to life. And the specific beauty of it, the thing that makes this more than a general comfort, is that the whisper is personal. It is not worship in the abstract. It is not a general spiritual posture. It is a voice, a specific voice, speaking a name, the specific name. This restoration is not happening to a category of people. It is happening to one person. The particular, individual, named person whose faith was torn and thin, and whose heart lay in the ash. He does not restore us generally. He stirs us specifically, by name, into his name. The mercy of God has never been interested in wholesale transactions. It comes to the individual. It finds the specific torn and thin faith. It descends into the particular ash of the particular life. It stirs the particular heart that has gone cold. It speaks into the specific pain, not the general condition of human brokenness, but your version of it. The one that has your shape and your history and your specific texture of loss and weariness and failure and wondering whether anything is left. And into that, into all of it, into the exact, specific, particular reality of where you actually are, the mercy comes. Not to forgive only, to restore, to make whole, to stir from ash, to give a new heart where the old one had turned to stone. You do not need complete faith for the mercy to find you. You need only the torn and thin kind, the barely there kind, the kind that whispers rather than sings, that has very little left to offer, that arrives with ash on its hands and not much else. That is enough. It has always been enough. because the mercy is not waiting for you to bring something adequate. It is already moving toward you, toward the ash, toward the thin and torn, toward the empty and the cold, ready to do what only it can do: stir, restore, make whole, and call your name in the process.
Through the fleeting now and weak and worn, your quiet grace renews.